Okay, my parents have had sex about 318 times.
My parents have had sex once.
My parents have never had sex.
That's because
Our parents
are gay! It was 1979 when my parents fell in love. They moved in together just after 3 months, as their crates of love notes proved that this was it. Just 2 years later, they had bought the classic suburban home in a cute little racist suburb by Chicago. My mom popped me out and put up a swing set. She had Betty Crocker recipes and a scotch at the ready when my dad got home from his job at IBM. It was just like Leave It to Beaver if Ward knew what a computer was. My dad started working late, which meant he was sneaking out to gay bars and dancing the night away to songs like I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross. Yeah. It was Billboard's top single of 1982, and I'm pretty sure it was the catalyst to my father's decision to be loud and proud. Thanks a lot, Diana Ross. Since my mom was my dad's second marriage, he was positive that this one was going to squelch all those urges to suck dick. Yeah. My mom is an amazing woman, but she did not live up to that task. My dad snuck out to all the 80s bathhouses. I know this because I found the membership cards to places named Men's Country, Unicorn, and any other club named after mythical creatures. Obviously, things at home got a little awkward. My dad would lock himself in his room and wouldn't talk to us on weekends. Finally, he exploded and told us the truth. Well, he told my mom. He might have told me, but I was shitting in my pants back then and didn't understand words. Mr. Cleaver was moving out of suburbia and in with his new boyfriend, Bruce.
In 1972, a group of gay Jews pioneered the world's first GLBT congregation in West Los Angeles. By the early 1980s, a couple named Susan and Linda threw all the Hanukkah parties, and a man named David wrote Passover Haggadahs and various other prayer materials, much to the annoyance of his Gentile partner, Mike. Wombs a-weepin', Susan and Linda perused the congregation for healthy sperm and a gay man who longed for fatherhood. It came down to 3 candidates: an Israeli jack-of-all-trades, a dance studio owner, and a linguistics professor who played the piccolo. In the end, number 3 won the race, and boy am I glad about that. I definitely prefer piccolo gay to dance studio gay. Getting down to business, my dad rubbed one out into the shaft of a large Spinal Tap syringe. Then Susan lay on her back with her legs in the air, while Linda squeezed my dad's troops out of the glorified turkey baster and into my biological mother's trenches. After 5 or 6 tries, Sergeant Homo reached Battleground Les. In Immaculate Conception, I might be Jesus. After the gay and the lesbian created baby Jesus, they decided to get married. Because by golly, they wouldn't dare raise a bastard under their roofs. Yes, roofs. Mommy and Mama under one roof, and Dad and Uncle Mike under the other.
I am a bastard. My mom conceived me during a one-night stand in Paris. She had decided, with the support of her lesbian lover and her best friend, to get pregnant while vacationing in Europe. Stood up by a possible Italian suitor, she met my dad outside the Louvre, and after telling him she was a lesbian and finding him unfazed, she figured, why let her ovulation go to waste? Upon return to the States, my mom, her lover, and the best friend divvied up parental duty. 3 ladies, 1 baby, all exhausted.
Wow.
Even after the 2 that were a couple broke up, the 3 of them continued to parent together. Did you know that lesbians like to make their exes into relatives? My family tree always included aunts who were not my mother's sister. It's less of a family tree and more of a family spider web. When I was 5, 5, my mom got married, and so there was another lesbian addition to the family, mom number 4. The brown-haired one had my brother via donor, one big happy family.
My earliest memory is of my dad in his super short gay shorts packing up his car and leaving. Now, I'm proud of him for coming out. It was 1983, and that was really brave. George Michael didn't even come out till 1998. I loved having 2 dads. Bruce, so cute, wore aprons and cooked fancy dinners. It was just like Leave It to Beaver if Ward wore a skirt. There is one thing I would have done differently if I had been my dad, and that's wear longer shorts. It's tell the truth. He didn't come out to me until 8 years after leaving my mom, lying the whole time about Bruce being his roommate. I had no idea they were gay. Even though his name was Bruce, I still had no idea. And then I thought, well, if my dad had been embarrassed to tell me about it, then maybe being gay was something to be embarrassed about. There wasn't much acceptance around my racist town, so I vowed to never tell anyone about my dad's sexuality.
Kids are cruel to kids with one mom and one dad. So why wouldn't they scoff and spit in my direction as my 2 moms in their wolf t-shirts and fanny packs picked me up from school in their motorhome? Actually, the other moms have met their hip quota by befriending the progressive lesbian couple. And as you can probably tell, I was quite popular. Yep, private school, lesbian moms, Los Angeles. Not even Rachel Ray could create a better recipe for popularity. But while I was raised around a slew of gay adults, my parents didn't hang rainbow flags off the eaves of our houses. If anything, our family was more Jewish than gay. Another reason for society to hate us. People wonder how my parents explained it all to me, and actually they didn't. I just naturally understood that some kids, albeit a minority, had 2 mommies and or 2 daddies. And while it wasn't hard for me to accept, adults were still concerned. When I started kindergarten, I received a yellow book called Heather Has 2 Mommies. The story was something about Heather's moms taking her to school, then realizing she's different and embracing it by drawing a picture of her family. Needless to say, Heather and her 2 mommies lived happily ever after, and I was quite underwhelmed. Who does this bitch think she is stealing my thunder? I thought. Then continued trying to ride my dog like a horse.
When Becca and I were born, there were only a few hundred kids in the gay community. That dearth of options and my own overwhelming need for attention made me a great candidate to play media darling. I spoke on panels, in newspapers, and on TV. I regularly put ignorant adults in their place with the same authority that I used to explain what the word faggot meant on the playground. It is a bunch of sticks used to burn people at the stake during the Middle Ages. I'd lecture any elementary school child who might make the mistake of saying it. My parents are gay, and I do not appreciate that kind of language. Now give me back my rainbow Brent. In 7th grade, I got pulled out of math class to go speak to CNN in defense of gay parenting. It was 1993. I said we were like any other family. My parents helped me with my homework, we ate dinner together, and we watched TV. I didn't mention that unlike most kids, I use the word patriarchy frequently. Attended Folsom Street Fair yearly and spent a lot of time on women's only land. Gay, 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 gay. All that was missing was a membership to the Unicorn.
I had a double life in junior high. I would go watch my dad sing in the Chicago Gay Men's Chorus. Side note, gay dads love choirs. And then I'd go to school with this crazy secret burning up inside me. I didn't even know what the word faggot meant, but I was sure that I didn't want anyone to associate me with it. My dad was super stylish, duh, and always brought me a present in his man purse. He used handkerchiefs, which made him seem gentle and from the 20s, a trait I look for in men today. Still, I could not tell anyone about his sexuality. It wasn't the sexuality that I didn't accept, though. It just was the fact that it made me not the norm. Even before he came out to me, I kind of felt like the odd man out. Neither of my parents told me not to fart in public. Yeah. So I often got weird looks in third grade when I just let them loose. I knew I was different, I just couldn't figure out why, but my dad's sexuality confirmed it. Naturally, I had to prove how normal I was. I signed up for 13 clubs, became editor of the yearbook so I could publish photos of me being normal. And I started my campaign for homecoming queen 8 years before the elections. If you've been to a Taboo Tales show before, you may have heard already that I was homecoming queen in 1998. Woo! That's right, being a queen runs in the family.
When puberty hit, I believed my purpose in life was to have a boyfriend. My early adolescent years were spent chasing heterosexual relationships, which my therapist called overcompensation. On top of that, I was a complete nightmare by the time I started high school, sneaking out in the middle of the night to get my belly button pierced under a street lamp, dropping LSD in the back of Uncle Mike's minivan after school, and attending raves in San Bernardino. People may attribute my wildness to alternative parenting. However, it's exactly that saved my life. Okay. When I was 11, I found my biological mom, Susan, lying on the floor of her room, naked and unconscious. She'd had a brain aneurysm, fell into a week-long coma, and died. 2 years later, Linda, my living mom, became my stage 4 ovarian cancer mom. After 9 months of chemotherapy and 1 stint in remission, she died too. Lucky for me and my little brother, we had Dad and Uncle Mike. That's still 2 whole parents, 1 more than a lot of kids can say. So even though I Lindsay Lohan-handed up in high school, I had 2 patient and loving parents to veer me off the path of total Courtney Lovedom. When I lost my virginity at 15 years old, my father found out and he was mad as hell. "Why are you mad?" I asked him. "He screwed you," he yelled. And even though I was shocked since my dad barely ever raised his choir singing voice at me, they really do love choirs. It was exactly what needed to happen, because he's my dad, and that's what dads should say after they find out some smarmy 15-year-old boy jizzed in or around his daughter's lily. Moral of the story, even gay dads hate it when their daughters lose their virginity.
Thank God I was raised by dykes. I was a pretty wild teenager myself. I wore a black studded sweatshirt with a patch that said, "You don't speak for God, shut up, Christians." Attended anarchist conferences. Having grown up without the concept of sexual shame, my mother's instead had instilled in me the concept that my body was mine to do with as I pleased. And what pleased me was an often overlapping rotation of ever-changing men and boys. I slept with 3 different guys the first month after I lost my virginity. I didn't know the rules about not putting out, hadn't been coached by some well-preserved former sorority girl of a mom who played tennis, and had craftily managed to catch her husband's heart. My mom let my boyfriend sleep over and handed out condoms to my friends. So, by the end of freshman year in college, I'd slept with 20 people. It's less I'm coming out and more it's raining men. Now that was overcompensating. Likewise, my taste in men veered towards the hyper-masculine. When I look at my sexual desire objectively, it reads like a catalog of folks I shouldn't get along with. My parents are lesbians and I was into frat boys. I was a punk rocker lusting after jocks, a stoner who would date a cop. Give me a Republican in a button-down, a modern Orthodox dude, or a soldier in a crew cut any day.
Yes, our parents are gay, but as you can see, we are completely normal. Our childhoods were just like everyone else's. I sold Girl Scout cookies.
I played dress up.
I found enemas under my dad's sink. But we're totally normal. I took piano lessons.
I babysat.
I watched people die of AIDS. But really though, we were totally normal. I had a lemonade stand.
I ate TV dinners.
I went to with my mom to fetish festivals.
But otherwise, we're totally normal.
Except for the fact that we have to prove how normal we are when we talk about our gay parents.
At times it feels like we have to hide our true colors because if we unleash our weirdness, people of varying values will blame it on our gay parents and say we'd be better off raised by mountain goats or a mountain goat and a beanbag.
In fact, just yesterday, I had a cab ride and the cabbie said that he's pissed about Prop 8 being overturned because, while gay people are okay, they should never have kids. Don't worry though, guys. I let him know that I have a gay dad and that I was crowned homecoming queen in 1998.
So, as you can see by this show, everyone is fucked up. Whether you have gay parents or straight parents, I think we can all agree that pretending to be normal is exhausting. We shouldn't have to be straight-laced or just straight, although I am.
My brother and I are both straight. I do enjoy lesbian porn though.
I'm straight as well, but I also enjoy lesbian porn.
So that whole gays making gays thing is a fallacy. We tried to raise my brother to be a drag queen and he turned out a frat boy.
We'd also like to point out that there are plenty of bad parents regardless of sexuality. But we don't like our parents being judged.
We'd like to just put an end to this whole stigma about having gay parents.
And we like to call them just parents. Thank you.